the cosmic interloper, the object that forced humanity to rewrite its rules. The sky is no longer a passive canvas of stars. It has become a doorway, and something has just stepped through. A silent, unstoppable, and profoundly alien object is now carving a path through our solar system, and what we are learning about it is shattering the very foundations of astronomy, physics, and our understanding of our place in the cosmos. This is not a drill. This is not a theory. This is a live event, unfolding right now, and its implications are so vast they have triggered a silent, global panic behind the closed doors of world governments. We are not just witnessing a comet, we are witnessing a message, a relic, or perhaps a scout. Its name is Third Eye Atlas, the third confirmed interstellar object ever detected. But to call it a mere object is a catastrophic understatement. It is an anomaly, a paradox, a set of contradictions hurtling through space at 58 kilometers per second. It is behaving in ways that are physically impossible, emitting substances that do not exist in nature, and it has arrived at a moment so perfectly coincidental it feels orchestrated. The story begins on July 1, 2025, with a faint blip on the monitors of the Atlas Survey telescope in Chile. Initially, it was cataloged as just another piece of cosmic debris, but within hours that blip became a revolution. Its trajectory was hyperbolic, a sure sign it was not bound by the sun's gravity. It was a visitor, an intruder from the interstellar void, following in the footsteps of the enigmatic ʻOumuamua in 2017 and the more comet-like Borisov in 2019. But 3i Atlas was different from the start. It was faster, darker, and infinitely stranger. Early calculations suggested it was ancient, between 3 and 11 billion years old, a fossil from a time before our solar system was even a cloud of dust. It had crossed unthinkable distances, and it had arrived with a purpose we could not yet decipher. And its arrival coincided with a political event so bizarre and perfectly timed, it defies all explanation. Just weeks before 3i Atlas was discovered, a quiet earthquake shook the foundations of international policy. Without fanfare or public announcement, Earth's official alien contact protocol was rewritten for the first time in 15 years. Buried on page 7 of a dense technical document published by the International Academy of Astronautics, a single sentence changes everything. Pending the outcome of appropriate international consultations, no reply shall be sent to a confirmed extraterrestrial intelligence. Let that sentence hang in the air. 20 words that silence all of humanity. This is not a suggestion. The word shall is a legal command, a binding mandate. It is a global gag order issued silently and efficiently. For the first time in history, no individual, no corporation, no single nation is authorized to speak for our species. The microphone has been taken away and handed to a committee. The timing is impossible to ignore. This protocol revision was not a rushed job. It was a process that began in 2022, with drafts circulated in 2023 and 2024. But its public release in late September 2025 was perfectly synchronized with 3i Atlas dominating global headlines. This is not a coincidence. This is a preparation. The protocol is a comprehensive war plan for first contact. It expands the definition of detection from simple radio signals to include laser pulses, infrared waste heat from megastructures, and physical artifacts. It mandates a multidisciplinary post-detection subcommittee of scientists, lawyers, and ethicists. This committee becomes the central nervous system for the most important decision in history. They control the narrative. They decide what the public is told and when. They hold the power to respond or to impose eternal silence. The era of a lone scientist answering a cosmic phone call is over. The system has been centralized, and the timing suggests they knew the call was coming. As the new protocol settled into place, the world's eyes turned to the sky. The first images of 3i Atlas were not sharp, glorious portraits. They were ghosts. Capturing this object was a battle against physics itself. It moved too fast and shone too faintly for any normal telescope exposure. By the time a sensor collected a few seconds of light, the object had already traveled thousands of kilometers through space. Astronomers had to invent new techniques in real time. They made the telescope chase it. Sophisticated tracking software predicted its path second by second, adjusting the mount in near real time to cancel out its blistering velocity. The stars in the background blurred into streaks, but 3i Atlas held its position in the frame. The resulting image, a soft, elongated cylinder of light, is not a failure. It is a masterpiece of precision. This blur is a perfect snapshot of motion frozen. It is time-made visible. Every pixel carries minutes of compressed motion, rebalanced until stillness existed where it shouldn't. The shape that emerged was fragile but consistent, a faint gray cylinder, smooth at one end and uneven at the other, with no clear surface or nucleus. It was an outline that refused to be defined, a geometry without form. This was our first clue that we were not looking at a typical comet. The color was another shock, or rather, the lack of it. When astronomers processed the raw data, they found no real color. Its spectrum was a flat, neutral gray. This absence screamed louder than any bright signal. It meant the object wasn't actively outgassing. Its surface was so dark, with an albedo of just 2 to 3%, that it absorbed nearly all sunlight, reflecting back a bare, colorless whisper. This was the color of endurance, of a surface that had traveled for eons without renewal, a testament to its incomprehensible age. The first major breakthrough came from the Hubble Space Telescope. Securing time on Hubble is a brutal scientific competition, but 3i Atlas was given a VIP pass, classified as a target of opportunity. On July 21st, when it was 446 million kilometers from Earth, Hubble snapped an image that sent shockwaves through the astronomy community. The background stars were streaky, a testament to the object's incredible speed. At the center was a teardrop-shaped haze of dust, the coma. But the real story was the size of the nucleus hidden within that haze. Initial estimates, based on its brightness, had been wildly wrong. They had mistaken the glow of the coma for the nucleus itself. Hubble's precise measurements revealed the truth. The solid core of 3i Atlas was only between 400 and 405.6 kilometers in diameter. This was a lot smaller than anyone thought. But this correction made the object's subsequent behavior even more inexplicable. How could something so relatively small exhibit such immense stability? How could it vent so much gas without being pushed around? The size estimate shrank, but the mystery expanded exponentially. Hubble had given us a key, but it only unlocked a deeper, darker door. Then, the James Webb Space Telescope joined the hunt, and the story veered into the truly bizarre. On August 6th, using its powerful near-infrared spectrograph, a team led by astrochemist Dr. Martin Cordner delved into the comet's chemistry. What they found was a profound contradiction. The coma showed a complex structure with different gases streaming out in different patterns. Carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide were sublimating more vigorously than water. This is backwards. For comets in our solar system, water is always the dominant volatile, the primary driver of activity. 3i Atlas flipped the script entirely. It was as if this object was built from different ingredients, formed in a cosmic kitchen with a recipe we've never seen. Then came the second shock. Comet tails always point away from the sun, pushed by the relentless pressure of solar radiation. But Webb found a surprising amount of dust emanating from 3i Atlas in the direction of the sun. This is like seeing smoke fall upwards into the sky. The researchers theorized that excessive carbon dioxide production might be launching dust grains sunward, but the phenomenon was unprecedented. The object was not just chemically alien, it was mechanically perverse, breaking one of the most fundamental rules of cometary behavior. While Hubble and Webb stared down the visitor, another NASA telescope, TES, was quietly reviewing its diary. The Transiting Exoplanet Survey satellite is designed to find planets, but its all-sky survey caught 3i Atlas by accident. Astronomers realized with a jolt that TES had been watching the comet for weeks, from May 7th to June 2nd, long before its official discovery. A team led by Adina Feinstein used this precious early data to measure its brightness. As the comet moved 0.9 AU closer to the sun, they expected it to get brighter. Their models predicted its energy output would increase by a factor of 1.5. But 3i Atlas laughed at their models. It didn't just brighten, it erupted. Its flux increased by a factor of 5, far exceeding all predictions. This was not a gentle warming, this was an explosion of activity. The data revealed that 3I Atlas must have been awake and active when it was a staggering 6 astronomical units from the Sun, far out in the cold depths where most comets are still frozen solid. This suggested it was fueled by something hyper-volatile, like nitrogen or hydrogen, that can sublimate in the deep freeze of interstellar space. Furthermore, Feinstein's team found its light curve was flat. It reflected light evenly, with no clear repeating bright spots to indicate a tumbling rotation. This was a sign of eerie stability. The object wasn't tumbling chaotically like a rock thrown through space. It was stable, controlled, and symmetrical. Later, ground-based telescopes would confirm a 16-hour spin period, but the evenness of its light suggested a shape and behavior unlike any natural comet. Back on Earth, the Gemini South Telescope in Chile was also making discoveries. On August 27th, it captured stunning multicolor images showing not just the coma, but a clear, developing tail. This tail was growing, proof the comet was waking up as it approached the Sun. During this session, researchers collected its spectrum. In a dramatic moment, Assistant Professor Ben Yang identified an emission feature in the CN band. The comet was releasing cyanide. This happens when sunlight breaks apart hydrogen cyanide released from sublimating ice. It's a normal process for comets between 2.5 and 3 AU from the Sun, which is exactly where 3I Atlas was. A paper soon quantified this, 800 sextillion cyanide molecules per second. But the real story was in the ratios. The comet was severely carbon chain depleted. It produced less than 0.9d carbon, C2 molecules for every cyanide CN molecule. This chemical signature is a fingerprint of a comet's formation. Intriguingly, Borisov shared this trait. This was a clue that perhaps interstellar objects from certain regions share a common exotic chemistry. Then, amateurs made a beautiful and contradictory discovery. During the blood moon eclipse on September 7-8, astrophotographers Michael Geiger and Gerald Raymond imaged 3I Atlas glowing with a vivid green hue. This green color in solar system comets comes from energized dicarbon C2L. But this was the bombshell. 3I Atlas was carbon depleted. It shouldn't have enough C2 to glow green. This meant its chemistry was dynamically, unpredictably changing as it dove sunward, adding another layer of profound mystery. As the chemical mysteries mounted, a different kind of analysis delivered the most baffling evidence yet. On September 5th, a paper by Zuri Gray presented the first polarimetric observations of 3I Atlas. Polarimetry measures how light scatters off dust and gas, revealing details about particle size, shape, and composition that other methods cannot. The results were earth-shattering. 3I Atlas displayed an exceptionally deep and narrow negative polarization branch. In simple terms, the way it scatters light is utterly unique. It doesn't match any comet, any asteroid, or any other object in our entire solar system. Not even Borisov showed this. Its light is polarized in a very specific, localized way that is simply off the charts of our existing catalogs. This single measurement placed 3I Atlas in a class of its own. It wasn't just behaving strangely or having weird chemistry. The very material it was made of, the dust in its coma, was alien. It scattered light according to rules we have not yet written. This was no longer just an anomalous object. It was a sample of alien material, and it was telling us that the universe is far stranger than our models had ever allowed. While its chemistry and material were perplexing, its motion was outright impossible. The most shocking characteristic of 3I Atlas was its perfect, godlike stability. Comets are messy. When they vent gas, that gas acts like a thruster, nudging the comet off its course. This is called non-gravitational acceleration, and it's a fundamental part of cometary physics. 3I Atlas exhibited zero non-gravitational acceleration. None. It was venting hundreds of kilograms of gas every second, yet its orbit remained perfectly stable, completely unmoved. This is a direct, blatant violation of Newton's third law of motion. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. The comet was firing vast jets into space, but it wasn't recoiling. It was as if an unseen hand was holding it perfectly on its track. The revised mass estimates made this even more startling. At around 5 kilometers wide and 33 billion tons, it was hundreds of times more massive than Borisov. This immense heft could partly explain its stability, but not entirely. The force of its outgassing should have produced a measurable drift. The only logical conclusions were terrifying. Either it was an impossibly dense, solid metallic cannonball, or it was a hollow structure with internal systems actively canceling out the thrust of its own jets to maintain a perfect trajectory. Then, in August 2025, scientists at the KEK Observatory in Hawaii dropped a bombshell discovery that made all previous anomalies seem trivial. Using high-resolution spectroscopy, they analyzed the comet's gas plumes and found something that should not exist in nature. The object was releasing about 4 grams of nickel every second. The shocking part was what was missing: iron. In the entire universe, wherever you find nickel in space, you find iron. They are cosmic twins, forged together in stars and bound in asteroids and comets. Finding one without the other is virtually impossible. Yet 3I Atlas was venting pure, isolated nickel. When the team compared the spectral signature to known compounds, they got a match that chilled them to the bone: nickel tetracarbonyl. This substance does not occur naturally, anywhere. On Earth, it is a refined metallic gas used in advanced industrial processes, specifically for coating jet engine turbines and creating high-performance alloys. It is manufactured in factories. Avi Loeb stated bluntly, "This alloy has only ever been seen in human factories, never in a comet, never in space, never in nature." The implications were staggering. The emissions weren't random. They came in steady, consistent pulses, like the regulated exhaust of a machine. This was not the chaotic venting of a melting snowball. This was the signature of a process, a technology. The object was either performing chemistry we cannot explain, or it was built. The direction of this exotic exhaust was the next impossible puzzle. When Hubble and Webb monitored the object, they witnessed a phenomenon that defies basic physics. 3I Atlas was emitting a steady, focused jet of gas directly toward the sun. This plume of carbon dioxide, cyanide, and trace nickel was flowing into the oncoming pressure of solar radiation and wind. This is the exact opposite of what every comet in history does. Tails point away, always. The debrief summarized the sheer impossibility. Rather than forming a tail like a normal comet, 3I Atlas emits a sunward plume. Scientists proposed desperate natural explanations: asymmetric heating, magnetic funnels, but nothing fit. The venting was too steady, too precise. Avi Loeb described it as intentional alignment. The sunward jet wasn't a byproduct. It was behaving like a component of a guidance system. It was firing toward the sun to act as a counterthruster, a balancing force to maintain the object's perfect, uncanny stability against the forces of its other emissions. It was a maneuver, a correction. It was the behavior of a system, not a rock. Just when the scientific community was reaching its breaking point, the most dramatic revelation arrived. In late October, updated orbital data from observatories worldwide showed that 3I Atlas was slowing down. The deceleration was subtle, but unmistakable. Its hyperbolic trajectory was softening, beginning to curve into a bound orbit around our sun. This had never happened before. ʻOumuamua and Borisov came in fast and left faster, never to return. 3I Atlas was applying the brakes. It was as if it was deliberately allowing the sun's gravity to capture it. If this held, it would become the first interstellar object to become a permanent resident of our solar system. The timing was impeccably suspicious. It reached solar conjunction on October 21st, vanishing behind the sun. It would reach its closest approach, perihelion, on October 29th. If its speed dipped below escape velocity during this period, it would be trapped. Loeb compared its motion to an Oberth maneuver, a technique used by engineered spacecraft to efficiently manage energy by diving close to a gravitational body. For a natural object to mimic this was, he said, peculiar. The precision felt engineered, not accidental. At the moment of greatest anticipation, a wall of silence descended. Between October 4th and 7th, NASA's Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter had a golden opportunity. It flew within 12 million kilometers of 3I Atlas and captured the closest, highest resolution images ever taken of an interstellar object. These photographs held the answers to everything, but they were never released. NASA cited a government shutdown and processing delays. The world's most detailed views of the most mysterious object in history were locked in a digital vault. The silence was deafening. Dr. Michelle Thal, a former NASA communicator, expressed public frustration. Dr. Alan Stern of the New Horizons mission warned that withholding data only fuels speculation. An anonymous ESA official called it a communication's own goal. The void was filled with theories. The images showed geometric shapes, metallic surfaces, something so clearly artificial that it had to be suppressed. NASA's silence became a louder statement than any image could ever be, creating a consensus of suspicion that the truth was too shocking for public consumption. In the absence of definitive proof, the scientific community has fractured into three warring camps, each armed with a narrative for what 3I Atlas truly is. The first is the natural but exotic theory. This is the conservative view. It posits the comet came from a carbon-rich, iron-poor star system, explaining the strange nickel. But this theory is on life support. It fails to explain the refined nickel tetracarbonyl, the sunward jet, the perfect stability, and the orbital capture. It's the safe answer that explains almost nothing. The second is the pre-solar artifact hypothesis. This suggests the object is a billion-year-old relic from a dead planetary system, a fossilized core drifting through the galaxy. Its age and metal content support this. It's a romantic idea, a messenger from a forgotten past, but it still struggles with the object's engineered precision. The third, and most explosive, is the technological origin hypothesis. This does not claim it is a piloted ship, but that it could be a derelict, a piece of a probe, a broken engine, or archaeological debris from a long-dead civilization. This is no longer fringe. Harvard's Galileo project, led by scientists willing to confront the data, is now independently tracking the object, searching for the telltale signs of design, right angles, flat planes, and synthetic materials. We now stand at a precipice. 3I Atlas has emerged from behind the sun. Its fate, whether it escapes or becomes a permanent silent moon to our sun, will be decided imminently. The world's telescopes are locked on, and the secret protocols are active, waiting for a trigger. The battle for the narrative is raging across YouTube and social media, a war between institutional caution and explosive speculation. The credibility of our entire scientific and governmental apparatus is on the line. Who will the public believe when the final verdict comes? The established authorities or the independent investigators? The protocol dictates who speaks for humanity, but it cannot dictate who we trust. 3I Atlas is the ultimate test. It is a test of our instruments, our models, our courage, and our ability to face the unknown without panic. It is a mirror reflecting our own ignorance and our profound desire for connection. The evidence is overwhelming. The impossible chemistry, the broken physics, the guided motion. This object is either a natural miracle that rewrites all of science, or it is the first tangible proof that we are not the universe's sole children. The blur is our portrait of the unknown. It is both evidence and absence. Soon, this interstellar intruder will recede, leaving us forever changed. It leaves behind a simple, terrifying choice of what to believe, and the inescapable realization that the cosmos is not a silent, empty void. It is a forest, and we have just heard a twig snap in the dark. The question is no longer if we are alone, but what, after all this time, has finally come to visit. Just as the world grappled with the sunward jet, another visual anomaly emerged that deepened the mystery. In late August, the KEK Observatory detected what is known as an anti-tail. This is a rare cometary feature that appears to point toward the sun rather than away from it, creating the illusion of a tail going in the wrong direction. Anti-tails are optical illusions caused by larger, heavier dust particles ejected from the comet that lag behind in its orbit. From our vantage point on Earth, these particles can form a line that seems to defy physics. The most famous example was Comet Erin-Roland in 1957. But in the context of 3I Atlas, this rare feature felt like another calculated piece of theater. Combined with the sunward jet, the anti-tail created a bizarre, multi-directional emission pattern. It was as if the object was venting material in a controlled, almost purposeful geometry. While natural, the anti-tail's timing and presence alongside the other anomalies made it feel less like a coincidence and more like a flourish, a deliberate complication in an already incomprehensible puzzle. The narrative around 3I Atlas was spiraling into a modern information war. On one side, official agencies like NASA and the ESA maintained a tone of measured, almost boring reassurance. Their press releases were masterclasses in caution, filled with phrases like ongoing analysis and no threat to Earth. The message was clear: this is interesting science, but not cause for alarm. On the other side, a sprawling ecosystem of alternative media, YouTube channels, and social media influencers was pumping out a counter-narrative with explosive titles like "Alien Probe Confirmed" and "The Cover-Up is Here." These channels spliced official footage with ominous music and drew direct lines between the protocol revision and the object's arrival. They framed the no-reply clause not as prudent governance, but as a preemptive gag order. A popular livestream host captured the sentiment: when there's nothing to hide, they release information naturally. This document is them telling us that if something happens, we're not allowed to talk about it without permission from the UN. This argument resonated because it contained a kernel of truth. The protocol did centralize control. While astronomers watched the sky, a parallel technological revolution was unfolding on Earth that would forever change how we search for cosmic signals. In early 2025, researchers announced a major breakthrough in quantum error suppression. This meant quantum computers could now run longer, more stable calculations, making them powerful tools for sifting through astronomical data. NASA's Quantum Artificial Intelligence Laboratory began testing these machines for exoplanet modeling and signal processing. The implications were staggering. A task that would take a traditional supercomputer months could theoretically be done by a quantum computer in days or even hours. This democratized analysis power, putting capabilities once reserved for governments into the hands of private citizens and startups. Imagine a scenario where a quantum computing startup, let's call them Quanta Analytics, runs a proprietary algorithm on all the public 3I Atlas data. Their algorithm flags a repeating, structured pulse in the infrared emissions that looks deliberate. They publish a blog post, it goes viral in 12 hours, and suddenly millions believe they have evidence of an alien probe, all before traditional institutions can even verify the data. Speed was outpacing rigor, and the protocol was not designed for this new, accelerated reality. The protocol's mechanism for international consultation is a diplomatic minefield. The intended path is clear, a detection occurs, the International Academy of Astronautics, IAA, subcommittee verifies it, and then the matter is passed to the United Nations Committee on the Peaceful Uses of Outer Space, COPUOS. This is where the process hits a wall. UN COPUOS operates by consensus. Every member state, from the most powerful to the least, must agree before any formal resolution can be adopted. This process is inherently slow, cumbersome, and vulnerable to geopolitical gridlock. What if some nations want to reply and others don't? What if the debate drags on for years while the signal fades? Furthermore, the International Telecommunication Union, ITU, would need to be involved to allocate radio frequencies for any reply, adding another layer of bureaucracy. The protocol assumes an orderly, unified world response. The reality is a fractured, politically divided planet where national interests would inevitably trump global cooperation. The framework for speaking with one voice is built on a foundation of sand. There is an uncomfortable, unspoken dimension to this story: national security. The tools used for SETI are fundamentally similar to those used for signals intelligence. SIGINT, Peach Thousand Tell. A laser pulse could be an alien hello or a rival nation's directed energy weapon test. An infrared anomaly could be a Dyson sphere or a classified military installation. This creates a dual-use problem the protocol cannot solve. Imagine a private SETI group detects a signal and follows the protocol, notifying the IAA. But before any public announcement, a three-letter government agency invokes a national security classification. The data is sealed, the researchers are silenced, and the detection becomes a classified matter. Behind the scenes, intelligence analysts would tear the data apart for any tactical advantage. The strategic value of confirmed extraterrestrial technology is incalculable. Nations have a long history of classifying anything that could alter the global balance of power, and first contact would be the ultimate game changer. The public protocol could be rendered instantly irrelevant by secret, classified protocols we know nothing about. The protocol's greatest weakness is its lack of enforcement. It is an advisory document, not a binding treaty. It has no power to stop a private actor with resources and a motive. Enter the potential wildcard, the Silicon Valley billionaire. Imagine a tech mogul, frustrated with bureaucratic inertia, who decides humanity is moving too slowly. Equipped with a private ground station and a powerful transmitter, they could decide to beam a message to 3i Leilas before the UN has even scheduled its first meeting. What would stop them? A lawsuit? Sanctions? The protocol is helpless against a determined, well-funded individual who believes they are making history. This scenario is not science fiction. We already have crowd-funded satellite projects and citizen science initiatives that rival official programs. The democratization of technology means the power to contact the cosmos is rapidly escaping the control of governments and international bodies. The first voice to speak for Earth might not be a diplomat, but a rogue entrepreneur. Beyond the politics and physics lies the human element. How would the world's population truly react to the confirmed detection of an artificial interstellar object? The protocol discusses managing public messaging to prevent panic, but this is a dangerously simplistic view. Historical analogs are not encouraging. The infamous 1938 War of the Worlds radio broadcast caused widespread, albeit short-lived, panic. In 1997, the Heaven's Gate cult committed mass suicide, believing a spacecraft following the Hale-Bopp comet was their ticket to salvation. The presence of a confirmed alien artifact in our sky would be a profound psychological stressor on a global scale. Religious doctrines would be challenged. Economic markets would likely crash due to uncertainty. Social order could be disrupted. The very foundation of human identity, our place in the universe, would be shattered overnight. The protocol's calm, scientific approach may be entirely inadequate for the tsunami of existential dread and existential wonder that would wash over civilization. In response to the official silence and cautious approach, Harvard's Galileo project, led by Avi Loeb, decided to take matters into their own hands. They initiated an independent, privately funded observation campaign targeting 3i Atlas. Using a network of ground-based telescopes and accessing time on private satellite arrays, they began collecting their own proprietary dataset. Their goal was explicit: to search for technosignatures that official agencies might be ignoring or suppressing. They are looking for evidence of non-natural construction: right angles, flat, reflective planes, modular components, or any emission that resembles a manufactured rather than a natural signal. The Galileo project operates on the principle that the hypothesis of extraterrestrial technological origin must be tested empirically, not dismissed out of hand. Their very existence is an indictment of the traditional scientific process. They represent a growing faction that believes the conservative nature of institutional science is a liability when facing the truly unknown. By creating a parallel, agile research stream, they hope to bypass the bottlenecks of bureaucracy and peer review, aiming to deliver answers at the speed the situation demands. As the object approached perihelion, a fringe but persistent theory began circulating on online forums. It suggested that 3i Atlas was not just being studied, but was itself studying us. Proponents pointed to anomalous fluctuations in Earth's Schumann resonances, the natural electromagnetic frequencies of our planet's cavity that seem to correlate with the object's changing position. There is no scientific evidence to support this. The Schumann resonance is constantly fluctuating due to lightning activity and solar weather. But in the absence of official data, these patterns became a canvas for projection. The theory claimed the object was conducting a passive scan of our biosphere and technological infrastructure, reading the heartbeat of our planet as it passed by. This idea, while baseless, tapped into a deep-seated fear that we are not the observers, but the observed. That this silent, dark object was a cold, clinical intelligence gathering data on a species it considered insignificant. It was the dark forest hypothesis, playing out in the public imagination, turning a scientific mystery into a visceral psychological thriller. October 29th arrived, the day of perihelion, the object's closest approach to the sun at 1.4 astronomical units. Every major telescope on Earth and in space was trained on the patch of sky where 3I Atlas would emerge from solar conjunction. The world held its breath. Would it be flung away or would it be captured? The first data packets trickled in. Tracking data from the European Southern Observatory confirmed it. The object's velocity had dropped below solar escape velocity. 3I Atlas was not leaving. It had been captured into a wide, elliptical orbit around our sun. It was now, officially, the first permanent interstellar immigrant to our solar system. The news was met with a mixture of triumph and terror. Scientists celebrated an unprecedented astronomical event, but for others, the celebration was hollow. A naturally occurring object being captured by pure chance is a 1 in a billion fluke. An object that slows down just enough to be captured while maintaining perfect stability and venting industrial compounds feels less like luck and more like parking. With 3I Atlas now a permanent resident, the game has changed entirely. It is no longer a fleeting visitor we only have one chance to study. It is a permanent fixture in our celestial neighborhood, a new world that will return again and again. This opens up incredible scientific opportunities, but it also raises alarming new questions. Missions that were once impossible are now being hastily drafted. NASA's SOHO, SphereX, and MAVEN missions are being retasked to observe it. The ESA's JUICE mission and NASA's Juno probe, which will have close flyby opportunities, are under immense public pressure to turn their cameras toward it. We have gone from a one-shot observation to a long-term research project. But this also means the object is now a permanent part of our environment. If it is artificial, its presence is no longer a flyby, it's a deployment. Is it dormant? Is it waiting? Is it reporting back to somewhere? The wait-and-see approach has just been extended indefinitely, and the pressure to get answers has multiplied 1,000-fold. 3I Atlas has become more than an object. It is a mirror. It reflects our scientific ambitions, our political divisions, our technological prowess, and our deepest fears. The blurry image we have is the perfect symbol for our understanding, a faint, unresolved shape from which we are trying to extract the meaning of the universe. The data we have paints a picture of profound contradiction. It is both comet and machine, ancient and active, natural and engineered. Every time we think we have a category for it, it defies it. It exists in the thin, uncomfortable space between our established fields of knowledge, where physics still operates but our language begins to fail. The greatest truth 3I Atlas has revealed is not about itself, but about us. It has shown that our institutions are fragile, our science is incomplete, and our readiness for a universe teeming with life or its artifacts is virtually zero. We built protocols for a signal, but we were utterly unprepared for a silent, physical artifact parking itself in our backyard. We are left with a choice. Do we believe the conservative, natural explanation that requires us to rewrite our textbooks on chemistry, physics, and orbital dynamics? Or do we embrace the extraordinary possibility that we are looking at the first piece of extraterrestrial technology ever identified? The evidence for the former is a series of desperate, ad hoc theories that barely hang together. The evidence for the latter is a cohesive, if shocking, narrative that elegantly explains all the anomalies, the industrial exhaust, the guided stability, the orbital capture. The simplest explanation is often the correct one, and the simplest explanation for a machine-like object is that it is, at least in part, a machine. The missing NASA images loom over this entire debate. Their continued suppression is the loudest argument for the technological hypothesis. If the images showed just a weird, rocky comet, they would have been released immediately for scientific glory. Their absence suggests that what they show is not easily explained by any natural geology we recognize. The story of 3I Atlas does not end with its orbital capture. This is only the beginning of a new chapter for humanity. It has forced us to create a governance structure for first contact. It has sparked a public debate about our place in the cosmos. It has proven that interstellar travel of materials and perhaps artifacts is not just possible but happening. Its legacy will be one of upheaval and awakening. It has broken the paradigm of a lonely Earth in a silent cosmos. Whether it is a natural miracle or an artificial probe, its very existence shouts that our solar system is not an island. The cosmic ocean has currents, and those currents carry both driftwood and ships. Future generations will look back at this moment as the turning point. The moment we stopped just looking at the stars and started realizing that something from the stars was looking back. The quiet, dark visitor from the void has handed us a question, and the rest of human history will be our long, slow attempt to form an answer.